Peace be with you. I've been asked to comment on nationalism in Islam, and the first thing that comes to mind as a comment to that question is nationalism has no place in Islam. These are completely separate entities and they should never be merged. Culture and faith should never be merged, and neither should nationalism and Islam. What do you call it, nationalism or race or ethnicity or tribe? It's all the same division, right? It is a division that is outside of Islam. God tells us in the 49th chapter of the Quran, verse 13, O people, surely we have created you from a male and a female and made you tribes and families that you may know one another. But the most honorable among you is the one who has most taqwa, who is the most careful of his duty to God. So whether we're talking about race or ethnicity or national status, citizenship, all of these things, God says, look, we created it like this for a reason, so that you may know each other, so that you may organize yourselves and things like that. But Islam is completely separate from that. So you can have your nation, you can have your race, you can have your ethnicity, but Islam is what's supposed to bridge those gaps, right? Culture is different, right? I don't want to change my culture. I don't want to change my language. I don't want to change the way I dress, with exception, of course, of modesty, but I do feel I dress modestly already. So I don't have to wear a foreign attire that is foreign to me, that may not be suited well for my climate. I don't want to change the food that I like eating. All of those things, all of us have those things as a matter of national status or ethnicity or whatever. But that is completely separate from Islam. Islam is the moral character that is supposed to bridge those divides. So when you go to a different culture, when you go to a different land, when you go to a different nation that is populated with Muslims, you still feel comfortable because these people are entirely predictable in their behavior. Their culture may seem weird and different, but you know that these are the people that will not harm you. They don't lie, they don't cheat, they don't steal. They will treat you with respect. They're not selfish people. And that is what Islam is supposed to be. It is supposed to be a bridge across culture that brings about peace and harmony among all cultures. For that to happen, you have to hold on to the rope of God, and the rope of God is the Quran. So if you have Muslim societies that do not judge by the Quran, then they are the unjust, and they are not helping bridge this divide. Because if you don't bridge this divide, cultural divide, national divide, if you don't bridge it with Islam, you can't bridge it with anything else. Sure, you can conquer people or try to implement, and force your culture or push your culture onto them and call it Islam, but they will always resist. A good example of that is Ottoman Empire and a country in Europe called Bosnia, right? They were occupied by the Ottoman Empire for 500 years, but even though they were Muslims, they rebelled against the Ottoman Empire because the Ottoman Empire tried to push their culture onto them. So they got tired of it. So when we're talking about nationality or whatever other political separations and Islam at the same time, the first thing to say is they are completely separate. And the second thing to say is that Islam is supposed to bridge all these national and cultural divides. As long as we all hold to the same book and behave according to it, then we are all utterly predictable people and very good and moral people, and it's easier to bridge these divides. If we do anything else, then it'd be very, very difficult to bridge cultural divides no matter what, and there's always distrust and apprehension. Peace be with you.